For centuries, men have been taught to believe in romantic illusions, that affection is built on unconditional emotion, and that loyalty is an unspoken, eternal guarantee. The Stoic truth challenges this comfortable fantasy, asserting a brutal, yet profoundly liberating reality. Human attachment, especially in relationships, is fundamentally an exchange of value. This is not cynicism, this is clarity. When the poetry and sentiment are stripped away, every lasting connection rests on a mutual exchange of benefits. A partner's investment remains consistent only as long as she perceives value, be it emotional stability, financial security, status, or unwavering masculine presence. The myth of unconditional loyalty. The most painful realization for most men comes when they discover the conditional nature of loyalty. The video emphasizes that a woman does not remain attached because of who you are as a person, but because of the value she receives from the man you are being. The moment a man loses his center, he loses his job, his discipline, his confidence, or his life direction. The attachment begins to recalculate. She does not leave because she is cruel. She leaves because the exchange no longer benefits her psychological or emotional security. This principle applies universally. We all leave jobs that no longer serve us, abandon friendships that become draining, and pull away from relationships where the cost outweighs the benefit. The Stoic man accepts this predictable mechanism of self-interest in human nature, which frees him from the shock of betrayal. The unspoken language of conditions and needs. Beneath the surface of affection, women operate on an unspoken list of conditions centered on emotional security. This is more complex than simple safety. It is the assessment of whether a man can provide stability and leadership in a chaotic world. The moment a man becomes emotionally chaotic, needy, or lacking in direction, her feminine instinct triggers a quiet internal retreat. What men interpret as a sudden, confusing shift is actually the consequence of failing to meet the unvoiced conditions for anchored attachment. A woman responds to the man you are right now, the strength, clarity, and purpose you embody, not the promises you made in the past. To stay anchored to her, a man must first stay anchored to himself. Boundaries as the architecture of respect. If attachment relies on value, then respect is governed by boundaries. The man who sacrifices his standards to keep the peace, who constantly folds under pressure, teaches his partner a dangerous lesson. His value is negotiable. Boundaries are not rules to control her. They are lines that define your own self-respect. Women instinctively test these lines, not out of malice, but to assess the man's internal integrity. A man who enforces his boundaries calmly without emotion proves that his dignity is non-negotiable. Love versus respect. The video makes a crucial distinction. A woman can love a man while simultaneously disrespecting him if he allows it. Respect is behavioral, generated by the friction of consequences, not the comfort of words. The cost of crossing. A truly magnetic man is respected because he shows that violating his standards has a definitive cost. The woman who values the connection will adjust. The woman who only values the convenience will self-select out. The magnetic power of distance and self-possession. The final key to maintaining value and attraction is managing accessibility. Human nature devalues what is always and effortlessly available. Unregulated closeness suffocates desire, transforming excitement into predictability. The Stoic man understands that distance is the preservation of identity, not the absence of love. He maintains a world she must earn her way into. He does not collapse his independence, his mission, or his time into her orbit. This strategic pacing signals that his time is valuable and his identity is intact, generating an appreciative hunger and desire. The man who embraces distance communicates, without saying a word, I remain myself with or without you. This is the essence of true masculine strength. The final transformation. The purpose of embracing these brutal truths is not to become bitter or cynical, but to achieve self-mastery. The Stoic man stops expecting people to behave against their own nature. He frees himself from the illusion of unconditional purity. He continues to love and give, but he never collapses his self-worth into another person's approval or presence. He uses awareness to build a life rooted in balance, boundaries, and sovereign self-possession, becoming untouchable not because he is emotionless, but because he is no longer controlled by unrealistic expectation.